Batman is a really inspirational character. He really inspires you to push your limits and use your intelligence to overcome any obstacle in your way and reach your goal. So, here are some ways that Batman has inspired me and some life lessons I've learned from the Batman stories. As a big time Batman fan, I've learned that in order for Batman to save Gotham City time and time again, he needs to push his limits to the point where I feel like he no longer has any limits at all, which he is unable to or afraid to go over. A good example of this is in Tom King's third story arc on Batman, when Bane, who's basically a supervillain who once broke Batman's back, he delivers Batman a speech right before a huge fight on how he will break him and make sure that he succeeds in his evil plan, and basically says that this is it for Batman. He's a goner. So, as you can imagine, the situation is very tense and the stakes are very high for Batman. However, Batman replies to Bane using one of the most iconic Batman quotes ever, only three words, and he simply says, I'm still here. Although these are only three words, true Batman fans know that there is a deeper meaning to them. What he means is that he has heard speeches like those from supervillains ever since he first donned the cape, and yet he overcomes all obstacles thrown at him. This really shows us how much Batman must have had to push his limits. Without doing so, he would have just not gotten to the point where he is now. That is also what you have to be doing. Don't be afraid to encounter obstacles, and when you do encounter them, try your hardest to overcome them without easily giving up. Another example of where Batman himself acknowledges that he has pushed his limits and tried and succeeded to overcome all the obstacles thrown at him is in Scott Snyder's Zero Year. Batman is acknowledging the fact that he is a symbol of hope and justice to all. Near the end of the comic, he says to Alfred, his butler, maybe that's what Batman is about. Not winning, but failing and getting back up, knowing he'll fail 1,000 times, but still won't give up. This quote is the epitome of Batman as it embodies one of Batman's biggest values. He will get back up no matter how many times he is knocked down. Again, he will push himself until he goes over his limits and gets over an obstacle. And one of my personal favorite quotes was also said by Batman in Doug Moench's Nightfall, also right before a fight with Bane. While responding to Bane's speech, Batman says, all men have limits. They learn what they are and learn not to exceed them. I ignore mine. This quote basically summarizes what I have been telling you. You simply need to push yourself to your very limit, try your very hardest to achieve your goal, and then you will achieve it one time, even after failing 1,000 times before that. That's how all big accomplishments are achieved in life. If the Bat had not pushed himself to his limits, over his limits, he would have probably let Gotham City be destroyed. So push yourself to your limits, beyond them, until you feel like your limits don't even exist. Get up no matter how many times you've been knocked down, and then you're bound to get over any obstacle that happens to come in between you and your goal.